You were making a comment on your Instagram the other day, which I really liked. You were talking about how people will complain about, oh, I'm only making $200 a month in cash flow.
Yeah.
It's like, are you really though? Like, are you really only making $200 a month in cash flow? Or one, are you getting tax benefits? And for somebody like you guys own a cleaning business. You guys have income coming in. You have active income on your real estate holdings. Having a $225,000 property that you can utilize some depreciation this year will save you guys more money in real money. You will save more real money in taxes than you would have cash flowed on this property, which is real money. Here's the other thing. Okay. The other thing is you've got basically $200 right now in gross cash flow. And gross means, guys, that's not net. That means he's got CapEx. What does CapEx mean? He brought that up earlier. It's capital expenditures, which means what I call war chest. It's the, oh crap, like a tenant just moved out. Oh crap, an AC unit went out. You know,
toilet, man. Toilets. It's always toilets.
Yeah, one toilet's a couple $100, right? Like labor and install.
CapEx is super important, and you got to have.
Yeah, because think about that, guys. $200 a month is not enough money to cash flow when you're brand new. Okay, so here's the thing. Again, understand the rule and make a decision based on who you are and what level you're at. Now, for me, I look at this deal and I go, okay, well, how much is Logan really making? Well, Logan's actually making a lot more than you guys might think. Number one, cash flow. He's going to get $1,000 a month in cash flow once he converts this over. Right now, he's covering his costs, which is great. Okay. His cash flow will be huge. He'll make, roughly $10,000 to $15,000 a year in Airbnb net income or corporate rental, whatever it ends up doing. Number two, he's getting tax savings. So let's do the tax savings. If you do basic tax depreciation on this one deal, we don't do basic stuff really anymore. We usually do a lot more than that, but let's divide this by—
You make too much money, man.
And we're making too much money, bro. What do we got? 225. Let's do the math on this, guys. Put in your calculator. You'll get a good feeling for this. $225,000 divided by the IRS's rule of 27 and a half years. So basically what their belief is, or anybody that doesn't know this. And
if any of you guys know what it is, why it's 27 and a half, put it in the chat. I have no freaking—
Yeah, nobody knows. And my CPA has no clue. So the IRS tells you in 27 and a half years, they believe that your property will be worth $0 because of how much you're going to have to fix it up all the time. They came up with this number. We just use it. We don't care. And so when you divide that, you actually come up with a per year tax deduction of $8,181. That's pretty good. So at your tax bracket, okay, my tax bracket, if I was paying taxes, my tax bracket would be basically— I think it's 47%. I think it's either 43 or 47%, but it's a lot. So the reality is I can save basically 47% of that. So what is that? Okay, so that is real life tax savings of $3,845 that I won't have to pay to the IRS. Divide that now by 12. So now what's funny is my tax savings on this property is $320 per month. Okay, so I look at that. I know it's a weird way to look at this, but I actually look at this as part of my cash flow when I'm making a decision on properties at this level of the game. It's not what I would do in the very beginning is justify a purchase based on my depreciation. But when you get some properties under your belt and you have active income coming in, you can make a decision on this, okay? So the first thing you have to understand is that one, his cash flow is going to be about $1,000 a month. That's really heavy. Okay, that's great because he's going to be doing short-term rental. Two, he's making about $320 per month in tax savings for the next 27 and a half years. Now, if you're crazy like me, I would multiply this number by 7 in my first year because I'm going to do 7 years of depreciation up front, and I would be making $2,243 per month in tax savings in my first year. That's pretty gangster. That's a good deal.
I've never seen anyone break that first number down, that $320 a month, like that into a monthly payment. I've seen that obviously like the total yearly, like $8,000, but never actually broken it down the way you did into actually making it towards your phantom cash flow, which is—
Isn't that— awesome. Ooh, I like that. Phantom cash. Oh, bro, let's make a t-shirt that says phantom cash flow. So guys, go watch my corporate structure Zooms, and you guys will— I'll have my CPA come in there and you guys will see all that kind of stuff. And we teach you exactly what this all is. We're not going to break this down for you right now,
but wait, there's more on here too.
There is more. So number 3, the other thing that we have to take into consideration is this property will appreciate, or you'll get appreciation, right? You'll get growth over time. Have you looked at billings at like the average appreciation rate in billings? We should Google that real quick.
Billings is very much like a steady Eddie market. It's not like,
so in an average market, you're probably appreciating, what would you say, 4%, something like that?
2, 3, 4%.
Okay, so let's say that we're at 3%, so $225,000, and you're going to multiply that point by 3%. This property will go up in value $6,750 every single year, and then start compounding and compounding. That 67, it won't be 6,700 next year. It'll be 225 plus 6,750 multiplied by 0.3. This will start compounding and get to a point where every year this property is going up 10 grand, then 11 grand, then 12 grand, then 13 grand. Does that make sense, guys? Does everybody understand the appreciation compounding effect? So technically, if you look at appreciation, you go, okay, well, in my first year, this property was appraised at $225,000. Cool. Well, in an average market, this property should be worth $232,050, essentially, right? Is that right? No, $232,750 is what it is. My bad, guys. I'm an idiot. Now I multiply that by 0.3, and that would be my compounding growth for the next year. So $232,750 times 0.03. So now the property is going to go up next year $6,982. $6,982. Now, this is obviously average numbers. This is not actually going to be the exact situation, especially right now with inflation at 8.6%. This property is going to continue to go, like, it's going to go bonkers. It'll appreciate way faster than the average rate until we taper the inflation and all that kind of stuff, because properties follow the inflation rate, which is great. So you're going to have growth, right? Appreciation. And that's not all.
Well, wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. I like the phantom cash flow. I love that. So appreciation. Now, what do we got? We also have pay down, right? We have mortgage pay down. Logan, are you paying down this mortgage, or is your tenant paying down this mortgage?
Yeah, technically the tenant's paying it down.
So what I'm calling this lately is I'm calling this retirement crowdsourcing. Because what you're doing is you're crowdsourcing your retirement by your tenants are paying for your retirement for you. Yeah. You know what? I don't want to contribute to my 401k. I don't want to contribute to this. I'm not going to worry about my boss giving me a raise or any of those types of things, which a lot of people worry about. I'm just going to have somebody else. I'm going to crowdsource my retirement. Awesome. And what's great is now you're going to be able to have them pay down your mortgage for you, which is sexy. But the coolest thing for a guy like Logan, I think, is probably number 5. I'd say 5 and 6. Okay. Number 5, the 5th reason why you should buy properties and why this is a good deal is number 5 is leverage. Because now, let's say in a couple of years, interest rates go down from 6.5%. Let's say they go down again to, let's say, 4.5%. But his property is now worth, let's say, hypothetically, let's say it's worth 260 or some odd change. He can go out and do a cash out refinance. And also, I know how smart Logan is. This property, as it grows in value, okay, I'm sponsoring a multifamily deal right now. I've got a 24-unit deal that I'm sponsoring. And what does that lender want to see? We talked about that earlier. They want to see net worth. So your net worth, Logan, will grow on this deal, and you'll be, even though if you decide, okay, so for example, let's pull this up. I know I'm so damn excited about this deal. I wish I did this deal.
You did do this deal. You are responsible for this deal. Like,
no, come on.
Real.
This is you and your.
I think it's important that like you actually are able to like take some credit for this, because this idea, this concept, it's a strategy, and it's actually an amazing strategy for certain situations. And the coolest thing about this mentorship base, and I'm not saying anything that anybody else hasn't said, but it's everything. It's a strategy for every situation. It's not just creative finance. Or subject to. It's not just seller finance. Like, there's more method, there's innovation, there's like fix and flip, there's BRRRR, there's wholesale, there's arbitrage, there's so
raising capital, corporate structure, transaction coordinating.
Keep going.
Sales training.
It's insane. It's so good. I've been part of other mentorships. I would say, this is the first like serious real estate mentorship, but other mentorships in general. And the fact that, number 1, its lifetime makes it a true community, right? Other communities I've been part of, cool communities, but there's always an expiration date, and there's always like this, like, once you quit paying, then all of a sudden you're no good to me, and that's just how it's always been. And I love the people who run those things. But the thing that you've created, and you've talked about it, especially lately, I've definitely heard you talk a lot about it. It's like, it's new. You're creating it. Like, people are getting pissed off because you're doing it, because you're basically changing the game. And it's freaking wild. So the Morby method, like, it's just one little sliver. It's one little sliver of something that is enormous. And that's why I'm so bought in. It took me probably 3 months to truly, like, I'm going all in on this. But I'm all in. Yeah.